Okay, we are being recorded.
All right.
I have 156.
I'm still looking for more people.
They'll come.
Okay, I see 2 people. Welcome, Brian.
Hi, Brian. We've already said hello to Mary Jo. Glad she came back.
Look at that, Brian. He's putting on his Clint Eastwood. Anybody ever tell you that?
Look at
No.
that. Oh, wrong one.
Oh, Betty Ann was the one that was having trouble too. I see she's on here.
Yay. There's
Right.
one. Bill, are you going to ask them to rename themselves if they are a telephone number?
I sure will, but like I say, I can only see 2 people right now.
What?
Yep.
Are you on your desktop?
Yeah.
I think up there in the upper right-hand corner, you've got a little 9 buttons there. It says view, or maybe
Yeah.
it does says speaker view.
I'm on gallery.
You're on gallery. Oh, well, you should have to see everybody. Not sure.
I'm on gallery.
That's disconcerting.
Yeah. He needs to see people.
Yeah. Can you see, babe?
Let's see.
Especially without Rebecca.
I'm sorry I neglected to RSVP, but hello, everybody.
Hello, Elaine. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
I
Thank
just
you.
knew you were going to show.
You're
Welcome,
more than
Glenn.
welcome.
Welcome, Bernie. Welcome, Mike. Welcome, Bernie.
Well, Elaine, I was going to comment on your dramatic background there.
My shades, my blinds.
Yeah, they are. They really they pop.
Yes, very dramatic. Thank you.
I tried to change my background to the PNSN logo, and it says my laptop is too old.
Oh,
It won't let me do virtual whatever.
tell you, time to make an investment.
And every time he says that, I ask him if he wants to buy it for me. Bernie has his hand up.
There is someone on there called Dick. That's my
Yes.
brother in Arlington, Virginia. He just started today. He should
Right.
be.
Oh, wonderful. Excellent. Welcome,
Yep.
Dick.
I don't see his picture. You might have to tell him how to get his video going or his.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's in
And,
Arlington, Virginia. I believe it's him. It should be him.
Okay, I've got 2 o'clock. Are we ready to rock and roll?
Okay, I can't see everybody, so you need some help.
Oh boy. I don't
Anyway,
know what to do about that, Bill.
okay.
I think it may improve as we go along.
Okay, well, for those who can see, welcome. I'm Bill Porter, live from Richmond, Virginia, where the spring is coming. And
Gotcha.
it's 50 degrees and blue skies.
Excellent.
Anyway, Judd, would you please pull up the agenda?
Yes.
As you can see, we have well, in the process of welcoming people. At 2:10, we have Judd Vaughn talking about the website. At 2:25, we have new attendees. And at 2:35 to 3, we're going to start our open discussion. And then one of my favorite parts is 3 to 3:05, we have break stretch. And then we'll come back and continue with our discussion. And then we have closing remarks. And then another favorite time I like is overtime. So as far as our welcome, I see everybody now, and you can take away the agenda, Judd.
You popped that screen back up that was up a minute ago. showing
Okay.
Which one?
The screen that was up a second ago was showing everybody.
Amanda?
I'm still looking for my brother Dick.
So you had a screen up, Judd, right after the agenda that showed everybody.
Correct. That's what I was looking for.
That's what I'm looking for also.
Well,
What?
that's on your individual computer. Change your view to gallery.
I
Dick is
saw
on.
him. I
Dick
I
is on
saw
your-
Dick.
Yeah,
You
Yeah,
found Dick?
he's there. I've got all 18 people up. He's there.
You see my
He's
brother?
there, but he's not on video. He may have
Yeah.
chosen not to.
Can you talk him through that to start video down at the corner there?
Dick, are you there?
Can I be heard?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Yes, I'm here.
Oh, good.
But I'm a rookie here.
I don't think that's the same Dick.
Oh, it's a different Dick.
We got two Dicks.
Probably got 5.
My brother just started today. The last name is Schmidt,
We're looking for Brian's brother,
Bernie's brother.
Bernie's brother.
Should be Richard or Dick Schmidt. He just registered today, he said. And got
Oh,
an
yeah.
interview.
Oh, yeah. Well, he won't get a invitation unless you send him one.
Well, he said he got a email back saying, thank you for registering, blah, 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 and he thought he was gonna be able to get in today.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I hope so.
He may be having trouble on his end.
Yeah.
All right.
Bernie, can you send him a copy of your email that you got, the reminder email?
I've already done that, but let me do that again, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. I don't mean to barge in here.
Also, I'd like to say anyone who just has come on, I still can't see everybody, but if you would put if you come in by number, would you please put your name so we can at least know who you are? Preferably your first and last.
If you're in a witness protection program, you don't have to use your real name.
Right.
You can put, that's right, you can put 0.
Can I use my mother's maiden name?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Uh,
well, I'm waiting for some more people. I hope everyone has kept their resolutions that they made in January. If not, that's okay.
Well, Bill, let me remind people that in the chat, I put up a bunch of links, mostly connected to our website, but outside as well. And if you go to the chat, you can see those. And I was going to repost them during the meeting, just as we kind of bring up stuff. But that's a way for you to
Okay, I'm here.
get deep into the website.
Yes.
All right, I'm still looking for
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, there's 22 up now.
In the lower left-hand corner, I don't see anything. You're the techie here.
No, Bernie.
Bernie.
Oh, dear.
I'd like to remind people.
Oh, dear.
Do I see the camera up?
Yeah. Hey, Bernie.
Background.
Somebody, well, we have 2 audio sources open. We started to get feedback. It's gone now. Good.
Is it?
Okay.
All right.
Okay, good. All right. I'd like to remind people that during the open discussion, you have to please mute yourself when you're moving around because of background noise, which we just had. Also, please raise your hand to be recognized or use the reaction feature at the bottom of the screen. I hope everyone has a reaction at the bottom of the screen. Also, take your own notes and remember the chat feature will be monitored. or you can place all your questions or comments in the chat feature. So there are many ways, and that would be monitored. Anyway, are there any questions from anybody? Okay. Judd, would you like to go ahead and talk about the web, please? Website.
Okay. We wanted to spend a few minutes and just tell you about how to use our website. Like I said in the chat, one second, let me bring up my screen. Hang on just one second. Let me go to the web. Well, okay, this is just a page on the web. Let me tell you how to get to our website. Go to in your browser, just go to pnsnetwork.org. And there's our homepage. And from there, you know, everybody has a different way of navigating the web. We're trying to make it as easy to navigate as we can. And with our top menu, you should be able to do that. But if you look at the homepage and you go down a ways to here, there's a search engine. And you can search on just about any phrase or headline on the website and get there. Let me, a couple of things to tell you about up the top. They have all our major categories. Our resources, which is very good. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Our calendar, there's always events and meetings. Let me show you the calendar. We are trying to list as many events around the country as we can. There's that's today's meeting. It'll come off after this meeting is over. And the Western Neuropathy has about 4 or 5 meetings in February, and plus a webinar. So we need to keep that in mind. Pittsburgh meets 3rd Wednesday of the month, and so on. There's a Foundation for Peripheral Neuropathy webinar coming up called Preventing Neuropathy. That's a pretty controversial topic. Now, all of us,
Excuse me, Judd, we're seeing notes from your email. We're not seeing our website.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. All right. This is going well. Let's see. You should be seeing the homepage. Let me try this again.
No, we aren't. Sorry, folks. We had worked this all through before you came.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Well, you do see it now?
Yes.
Okay. And how about when I go to the calendar? Do you see the calendar?
Yes. Now we're going target.
Okay. I don't know why my webpage disappeared when I started to get on.
Start fresh with the calendar, please.
Anyway, this is basically a calendar for February. We're trying to give you not only access to this meeting, but other meetings and webinars around the country that you can take your pick. Some of them are very dedicated. For example, we have one group that totally focuses on cancer-caused neuropathy. And there are many like that. There are several like that. And so this one is our meeting today. It will come off, but next month's will go on there at the end. Western Neuropathy Association has at least 3 or 4 meetings a month, and then a series of webinars. And we're promoting those here, and you can go to their page, pnhelp.org, and get the full treatment of the events that Western Neuropathy is putting on. Here's Pittsburgh area group, which meets the 3rd Wednesday of the month. This month they're having Dr. Robin Joyce, who is a physical therapist and professor in Pittsburgh. And she is going to be answering questions. Might be pretty interesting to get on there. And then this is the Foundation for Peripheral Neuropathies webinar for February on the 29th called Preventing Neuropathy. I think that was where I was. Preventing neuropathy is a controversial subject because everybody who's on here already has neuropathy, probably, unless you're a caregiver, a prayer giver too, I hope. But a caregiver, this would be important for your family, for your friends, just to talk about exactly what she means by that. The presenter is Dr. Shannon Patterson, who I believe is on the board at Mount Sinai and also on the FPN board. Anyway, you can look for yourself on the website under calendar. And we try to sum up meetings as we have time. We post the chat from this meeting up there. We post a video, and we are recording this video when we can edit it, and other information. So you can go back and get information on past meetings. Footnotes is our online blog newsletter. And if you go here, you can find all sorts of links to articles and information that we think you might want to pay attention to. So go there and you'll get the sub menu. And just you know, if you want to look at this year's, for example, here's footnotes for January. The things we posted just in the last month are short bursts of exercise, do a good job, slow memory loss after 60 by taking multivitamins. Vertex, a research, I think I'm stealing your thunder, am I not, Pat? Were you going to talk about Vertex maybe?
Yes, we're going to talk about these a little later, but this
Yeah,
is
okay.
just
It's
Okay.
okay. Go ahead, Judd. Keep going.
All right.
show them the
So,
carousel.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's do that. We're going back to the home page. And we're going down the home page to a thing on here called our carousel. The carousel is just a place where these articles are collected, and they kind of just roll by, and you can stop it if you want. If you want to read more, just click on the read more button, and it'll take you there. So that's our online newsletter, which we call Footnotes. All right. Join if you have a person who you want to become a part of this little band of outlaws, just have them go here. Membership is free. We offer a lot of services, and we feel like we're, trying to get as many people in here as possible. This is a member section. I'm not going to go over that. Help yourself. FAQ is, I'm not going to go over these. You can explore them yourself. Mainly from the home page is where we want you to start. And if you go down here to our search engine, which is on the home page, and you can type in just about anything. Let me type in, we have a thing called the newbie guide. Newbie, I guess that's how you spell it.
Yes.
And the newbie guide is our place to go if you're newly diagnosed for neuropathy. Now, if we go here, then we see this page, which gives you a lot of access to a number of different resources. And I won't go through this, but you can, and it tells you how to build your healthcare team, importance of footwear, diet, balance and falling. And all of these things have a good list of, and it's in development, a good list of resources that we're trying to point you to where you can find out more information. And this to me is a good guide for us to get more educated about neuropathy and its ramifications for us. Now, I'm supposed to ask if people are having problems either getting on the website or, you know, anything else, getting on Zoom for that matter. Anybody?
Any questions about the website for Judd?
In order to get to the homepage, do I just type in peripheral neuropathy support network? Is that what I get? Is that how I get to the homepage?
It's a PNS, peripheral neuropathy support, just pnsnetwork.org.
PNS
That's all.
network.
All of these are referenced in the chat, so if you are able at the end to save the chat, you will have all of these links ready for you. The groups that include the date and time, if you are looking for an alternate to Saturday and you want an evening meeting, you'll be able to find that by going to the groups page. The website itself, as he said, is pnsnetwork.org. You don't have to spell out peripheral neuropathy. Save yourself a little typing. And email me as the president at leader at PNSN Network. So all of these are in the chat now. If you want to make a screenshot of it, or if you want to save the chat at the end, all of these will be referenced easily for you.
Very good.
Steve, do you know how to use the chat to turn the chat on to make it visible?
Yeah, yeah.
That was a yes. Okay.
Yes, he
Yeah.
said, yeah.
Yes.
If I may, this is Bernie. Is there someone else identifying themselves as Dick? There's no picture going with it. Is that anybody else here calling themselves Dick?
Yes, I mean, there's somebody there. I don't think he's paying attention right now.
There is someone else calling themselves Dick.
Uh-huh.
I'm still trying to find out if my brother's on, but apparently he's not. He's having issues, so I'll have to work. I can't talk to him by phone and I can't text him. He doesn't accept text, so
Okay.
it's difficult. Okay.
Well, if anybody's on here who has trouble getting on or has had trouble getting on, we're available to try to help you. Mary Jo can.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you
loud and
hear me?
clear. Loud and
Oh,
clear.
good. So now it's working. Every problem is resolved. My audio problem is resolved. Thank you so much, Judd. I appreciate it.
Not at all. That's what we're here for. Okay, back to you, Bill. I think I've done enough damage.
Okay, okay, folks. I still can't see everybody, but the next on the agenda is for the new attendees. And for some reason, I'm on gallery view, but I only see 6 people. So if you shout out strong or one of my cohorts can tell me who's new, we can talk about new attendees. Is there any
Right.
new person to the group?
Yeah, I'm new.
And Rice?
Risa.
Okay, you're
Yeah,
all right, Lisa.
Risa.
Uh-oh.
I know it's spelled oddly.
Risa.
Risa. Like Lisa with an R.
Okay, got
Got it.
I joined some time ago, but then I moved and it's been a couple of years, but I got your emails and now I'm gonna be back.
okay. I'm getting back. Background.
I'm getting an echo. What about you?
Hey,
Echo.
it's Risa, and I'm trying to.
Can we just mute everybody?
No, I think there's a problem with a speaker inside her environment there. I don't know quite exactly what.
I don't have a speaker, but I can mute myself.
But then
Yeah.
you can't talk to you.
Oh,
Well,
well, I can hear you. Yeah, no, I'm unmuted now.
No. Risa can talk. It just needs to mute when she's listening. That's all.
Okay.
Okay, Risa, I got you. Is there anything else who's new?
And so-
My name is John. I'm new.
Hey, welcome, John.
Thank you.
This is JH.
Yes, JH.
Great.
Okay, anyone else new?
My name is Belinda. I was here about a month or two ago.
All right, well, welcome back, Belinda, because we are going to come back to you guys.
Mhm.
All right, I got Risa, John, and Belinda. Is there anyone else?
Stephen,
Stephen? Stephen, welcome.
Thank you.
All right, is there anyone else?
Do you hear me
Once.
now? Do you hear me?
Who's
Yeah.
that?
That's Dick.
This is Richard Smith,
Hi.
Dick Smith, Bernie's brother.
Dick,
Hey, it
welcome.
is.
We've been
Bernie.
looking for you.
Yeah, I didn't know whether I was supposed to speak up.
Oh, Dick, no, we all speak up here. Okay. Now, what I'd like to do on the new people, I've got Risa, John, Belinda, Stephen, and Dick. And what I'd like you to do is to say, of course, your name, where you're located, the type of neuropathy you have, and how'd you hear about us? And you'll find us a very caring and supportive group. So don't be afraid to speak up. And I've got Risa up, so you can go first.
Okay, hey, all right. My name is Risa Birnbaum. I live in Washington, D.C., downtown. I believe I have small fiber peripheral neuropathy. Just to give you a little more insight, it's kind of a numbish feeling on the soles of my feet, and yet they're not numb, if that's helpful in any way. They are not numb, and I can feel cold and heat and a pencil and no pain. It just feels that like there are small pebbles, kind of. I was diagnosed a couple of months ago. I take supplements, and I think I Googled looking for a support group, and I found you that way.
Well, Risa, thank you very much. Still getting an echo. Oh, now it's gone. Okay. John, you're up. Would you please tell us who you are? We know you're John, and where you're located and so on.
Yeah, my name is John Fringer. I'm in Reston, Virginia. And I have a neuropathy mainly in my left foot. It just got aggravated because I had a real bad sciatic event, I guess you call it, because I had severe pain, and I found out I have a ruptured disc in L1 S2, I mean S2 L1 S1. Sorry. And I have an appointment with a neurosurgeon on the 6th to see what he can do about it.
Well, that's a good thing, and we will probably get to that pretty later in the program. Stephen, you're up.
Yes, I'm Stephen Wertheim. I retired to a retirement village, Green Spring Village here in Springfield. Now, I was going to the in-person meetings at the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors room there for a few years before COVID. And I just recently we've been receiving the emails about this group. And so now I have an appointment with a neurologist for my Parkinson's disease on March 1st, and I haven't talked to anybody. I was diagnosed probably about 10 years ago with Kaiser Permanente with neuropathy in my ankles and my feet, and I'm feeling some neuropathy in my hands now. So I don't know whether there's any kind of multivitamins I should be taking. I exercise regularly. I'm glad that I do that for a variety of purposes. But I want to find out if there's some medication I should also be taking for my neuropathy as well as my Parkinson's disease. So I have some feeling in my feet. It's not great, but I also have some feeling loss in my calves. So I'm concerned about the progression of this disease and want to learn what I can, and if I can interrupt the flow of it, however I can, I'm glad to learn.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. Appreciate it. Dick, how about you?
Yeah, this is Richard Schmidt, Dick Schmidt, Bernie's brother. I'm in Falls Church, Virginia, in a assisted living facility. My situation began about 10 years ago. I was referred to a neurologist and have been well taken care of ever since. My problem is numbness and pain in my feet and lack of balance. I currently use gabapentin 3 times a day, and I have to use a walker now for stability.
Okay, Dick, thank you very much. And Risa, John, Belinda, Stephen, and Dick, during open discussion, I'm sure most of your questions will be answered or talked about. But what I've heard so far is, believe me, we all recommend seeing a neurologist. We all have pain. We all have numbness. We all have burning. We all take different supplements, and I do want to say that what works for you may not work for everybody. So I don't, some people, there's really no miracle drug, but we all have taken something that helps us. And this support group is one of the biggest helps that we have, is finding out that what people have and taking ideas away from them. So anyway, right now I'm going to open. Pardon?
Excuse me, Bill, I don't think Belinda had a chance to tell more about her personal journey. She just introduced herself. Am I right, Belinda?
Yes.
Yes. Would you like to tell us more about your PN journey and where you're located?
Okay, I'm Belinda. I'm located in the Bronx, New York. I got my neuropathy through cancer treatment. And about, maybe about 7 years ago. And it progressively got worse, but I also recently been diagnosed with spondylolisthesis, which the neurologists say may also be a reason why I'm having the pain in the feet. And he prescribed, what's now say, duloxetine.
That's in Baltimore, right? Yes, go on.
So that's what I'm doing now. And I've heard about this group through my support groups, my cancer support groups.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear.
Well, thank you very much, Belinda. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay, I'm glad you're here. Anyway, here we go. Okay. Would anyone like to start out with a certain question to ask during open discussion? Does anyone have something they want to mention or talk about?
I'm sure you've been, and I'm sorry if there's feedback, I'm sure you've been asked this a million times. I am interested in the supplements that might be helping some of the folks here. I'm taking B12, acetyl L-carnitine, R-lipoic acid, and some other nerve supplement through Life Extensions. I'm just wondering what else people might find helpful.
Okay, would anyone like to comment on Risa's statement about what they're taking?
I take a food supplement called Meta NX. I take it twice a day. It's doctor prescribed, and it doesn't work for everybody. It takes a fairly long time to kick in, but I'll tell you, I've had neuropathy for at least 5 years, been taking it for 3 years. It's almost totally arrested my pain. And Mike thinks I'm the victim of a placebo. He doesn't agree with me, but I'm telling you, it's saved my life.
What's the name of it?
Is it, yeah, what's the name of it again?
Meta NX, it's in the chat. I just Yeah, Glenn just put up the name of it and told you a little about more what it is. A lot of what maybe you're doing, Risa. The active word is methylated folates. In my view, and I don't know a thing about chemistry, so all I know are the words that I parrot back at public meetings. And but Glenn can probably tell you. And
Yes.
the thing that, well, anyway, you need to investigate it. You need to ask about it, and you would find some people are adherents and other people are detractors. So there you go. But it's a lifesaver for me.
He's already brought up the fact that he and I disagree on this subject. First off, there is an article. You look up the word supplements or supplement on the website, you'll find articles about supplements. Generally speaking, there are most of the things that are supplements. There's absolutely nothing to protect you from fraud and abuse by people who want to sell stuff out there. There's no medical reviews or anything. It's the world has decided, the U.S. government has been persuaded by makers of supplements that that those makers should not be subjected to any kind of regulation. So that's first off. So you got to be really careful. There are sources out there that review supplements and make sure they actually have in them what they claim to have in them, because there's no regulation. People can put anything they want to in these things. Secondly, I would argue, and I have argued with Judd many times, that what is pain? Pain is something that your body says, I'm in trouble and I need to do something. And there are lots and lots of things out there that help people go through the transition process of figuring out that, well, this feelings that I'm feeling are not that dangerous, and my pain will subside over time. And so there's lots of people who go through that transition and they look back at something they did and they say, oh, it was that, or it's that other thing. That's what saved my life. That's what was good for me. And I argue that that's entirely possible what happened with Judd. Can I prove it? No. Can he prove it? No. But he can certainly attest to his experience.
Well, okay, I don't want to belabor this, but back to Mike. I tried to get off Meta NX once because I thought, okay, I've pretty much conquered my pain. It's no problem. I've pretty much cured my neuropathy. I quit taking it, and immediately that excruciating pain that I remember returned. I got back on it. It took a while to kick in, but that's the only change I made. I take no other medications. I controlled my diet. I try to eat well. I try to sleep well, and but I and do a little bit of exercise. But it's really the supplement is the only thing I'm working on right now, and it works. So I keep doing it.
Well, let me respond to that by saying pain is something your brain creates in order to get you to do something about something that's bothering you. So simply the act of stopping taking and knowing that you stopped taking Meta-NX, it's going to seem dangerous to your brain, and it could bring the pain right back because the pain comes from your brain. There is no we never have a chance really to go into what pain is. I would love to have a whole session on what pain is, but this is not the time. The focus here, I'm only saying, is just be really careful about supplements. Investigate. If you buy a supplement, try to find one of these websites or some recommended in that article that I mentioned that looks at supplements and evaluates them and says that yes, this product does contain what it claims to contain. just be really, really careful with supplements.
All right,
I have two hands up. Monica and Helene have their hands up.
all right, Monica, go ahead.
Hi, so I just want to know, whenever you broached your doctor about the Meta-NX, did you have to explain like what it was, or did the physician already know? I'm actually interested in that because like I told you guys last time, I'm on baclofen and pregabalin, and I'd really like to get off of pharmaceutical products.
I went to a foot and ankle specialist, and the guy brought it to me. I didn't know anything about it. He said, let me tell you about this. It's worked for some of my patients, others it hasn't. He said, why don't you try it? I'll prescribe this and you try it and see what you think. That was 4 years ago.
Okay,
And
perfect. I've seen a podiatrist recently, and he's actually, because of my neuropathy and just the pain that I'm experiencing, he actually is sending me to an anesthesiologist in Fairfax, which I'm interested to see what he has to say. That my appointment, I couldn't get one in until March, but yeah, I'm interested in this, so thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there another hand raised? I'm sorry, I just can't see everybody. So Pat, can you see any other?
Helene?
Yeah, am I unmuted? Yes.
Go ahead.
Judd, did you say this was prescription only?
yes.
Okay, but it's still
Can't buy 'em off
considered
the
a
counter.
supplement.
Well, it's a food supplement. That's what it's called.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right,
I mean, there's
because,
the general category, of things that aren't considered medicine.
all right,
Okay, Glenn, I think probably has a response. Go ahead, Glenn.
Yeah, the Meta-NX, they usually call it a nutraceutical. It's basically a prescription type of supplement. The major reason for getting it is that some people can't get these methylated forms of the vitamins in just a local GNC place like that, although for a lot of us you can and get it separately. And it's also good in terms of pricing if your insurance will cover it, which a lot of insurances do. Two things I'll mention about it. The one caveat I have about Meta-NX is that the B12 molecule, the cobalamin molecule, is the largest molecule that our bodies normally use for nutritive purposes, and it's very easy to interfere with its absorption if you have absorption issues. A lot of us tend to absorb B12 less well as we get older. And so if you don't have an absorption issue, you're probably okay. If you do, it may be better to take B12 supplements, which you can get over the counter, separately from other stuff. I take mine quite a bit distinctly from other supplements, and also a couple of hours away from meals. The other advantage, although again, you can get methylated forms of these vitamins, is that roughly 10 to 15% of the population, possibly rising to 20% among people of, say, Nordic ancestry, have a mutation called the MTHFR mutation that enables them to not methylate vitamins to their active forms quite as well as others. And so using methylated forms of those vitamins tends to be more helpful for them than using just, say, some of the standard over-the-counter stuff. It's simply fewer chemical hoops to jump through.
Thank you, Glenn. Cynthia, your hand's up.
Yes, I don't know how much more I can add since Glenn covered a lot of ground, but I also take Meta-NX, and it was prescribed by my pain doctor, and he didn't prescribe it for pain. He prescribed it for energy. I was telling him how little energy I was getting from my conditions, and it's actually helped with that. The other thing is, as Glenn mentioned about the methylation, I have found, since I started taking it, I have found out that I have 2 sisters and a mother that all had problems with methylation. And so I'm going to get tested myself, but it may be another reason that it's helping me as much as it is, because I'm not metabolizing it the way I should be, the B12. So, but it's helping me for energy, which I'm really happy about. So.
Well, that's good. Thank you, Cynthia. I appreciate that. The only thing I'll add, then we'll move on. First. Is there another hand up? that I've missed?
Elaine,
Elaine?
Elaine,
Yeah, I'm back up. I wasn't quite finished. I'm
Okay.
gonna ask my podiatrist about it. I see a pain management doctor who's not managing my pain. I'm making an appointment, sorry, to see a new neurologist. But my pain is out of control, and whatever Mike says, it may all be in my head, but I think it's my nerves that are deteriorating and the myelin sheathing that's no longer there. And it's out of control, and I take all kinds of good stuff. So I'm here for support today because I've had it. I'm sorry.
Elaine, no, we're here. That's why we're here. We hear you, and we all feel for you, and we all know what you're going through. And we will continue just talking about this. And anyway, I just want to add one thing that I know is I saw my neurologist last week, and we talked about supplements, and he made a very good point. He said, make sure when you buy your supplements that you buy them from a local store, or you know where you buy them from, because if you buy from a big box store, and he said like Amazon, it could be on the shelf for 6 months. It may not be worth it. So I just pass that along. And also diet and exercise help with whatever you're taking. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Cynthia, is your hand still up, or are you?
Nope, sorry about that. I'll lower it right now.
All right, let's go to any other. Pat, you got your hand up?
yes, Risa, I have a question about your supplements.
Yes.
That you're,
Risa has an echo or something.
Are you being guided by a member of your medical team, or how are you? I think you named like 4 supplements that you're taking. How did you?
In this case, Life Extension vitamins or supplements does have a health professional line that you can call. And I spoke with a doctor there, and this was their suggestion. I also have a neurologist, but it's been fine. I have one question, then I'll mute because I must have feedback. My question is, does the onset of neuropathy for you folks start with pain, or does pain develop over time?
Depends on the neuropathy.
I think most people that I know start with that pebbly feeling. That's what I've heard, just in their feet, and then it progresses in different ways. But a lot of people start with that, constantly looking for something in their shoes. What's in my shoe? And of course, there's nothing there.
Yeah, I think most people start with some either burning or pain, and it progresses over time, and all you can do is stop the progression.
Mine progressed. I'm not sure about my microphone. Is it working?
Yes.
Yes.
This is Rich Davis. Yeah. Mine, I'm a little different, I guess. Mine progressed with numbness, no pain. It's just numbness. And I've never really approached a painful stage, but I'd say high discomfort is the worst I've felt. I've had pain. I've had kidney stones. I know what pain is. I had earlier mentioned, I heard the spondylolisthesis. I had that as well. That's where your vertebrae shift. I didn't have a major case of it. I was a grade 1. It goes up to grade 4. I know what that pain is like, but I haven't had severe pain, but I've had increasing numbness over the last 6 years.
Thank you, Rich. I appreciate that. Any other hand up? And then we're moving on to another question.
Excuse me.
Hey, Joe.
Yes, Mary Jo.
Risa, mine started with numbness in my right big toe, and then it spread to
Yep.
my left. And then all my feet, tops and bottoms, got numb. And then about a month after that, I started to have burning pain. And my pain has always been a burning pain. And I did take gabapentin.
Can I ask you
Yeah.
a question? When everybody says numbness, is your foot really numb, or can you feel, when someone touches it, or cold or heat?
Thank you. I'm so glad you said that. I'm sorry. My hand was raised, but I had to jump in because exactly, and no one can understand exactly what you just said. It's not really numb because you can, I have dropped something on it, and honestly, it took about 2 years for the little cut to heal. I can feel, but it's numb and it's painful. So 100% I agree with you.
Also, let me say that I'm going to give two examples. I know in myself that if the neurologist has a little filament, and I close my eyes and he says, or he has something that, he can bang on his hand and it's cold or hot, he can put that going up my leg, and I can always, sometimes I feel the filament, sometimes I don't. And sometimes I feel, so you can feel, got an echo too. I don't know why I'm echo.
I muted Bernie. His speaker was.
But neuropathy, and this is just a sort of a quick take on neuropathy, and that is it's a deadening of the nerves. So that was what initially happened to me. And I cannot feel anything in the tops and bottoms of my feet. And now it has started to go up both legs, not to my knees yet, but about 4 inches above my ankles. So
Mary Jo, when was the onset? When did you first notice these?
It started in January 2010. So I've had it for a long, long time. And it's gotten worse, of course, because it's progressive. So, yeah. But I don't really take any supplements at this point. I tried supplements and I didn't have very good luck with them. So I take Zymbalta and gabapentin for the pain. But actually, it's the numbness that really bothers me the most.
Right.
That is so bothersome, much more so than pain, because I've had other types of pain in my life, and I've learned how to live with pain. It's the numbness that drives me nuts, and just causes. Go ahead.
You're describing me exactly. I empathize with you because I have the same thing, just as you said, top and bottom of the foot.
Right.
I had a Johns Hopkins neurologist do a wide bank of tests, as has been described earlier, where they're just touching you, like with a pinprick, that type of thing. Do you feel that? And there were cases where I didn't. But yet, if I walk outside on a cold concrete slab, I can feel that. That'll penetrate. But other things, I can't feel. So, you've got 3 kinds of nerves: the sensory and the muscular, and then you got involuntary. Well, the sensory, that's where I'm noticing the biggest change with the numbness.
Right.
Fortunately, my motor nerves seem to be working fine, and they ran tests for that. But they said my problem is the sensory. It's those nerves that are deadening. And they had another little interesting test where it was like a tuning fork, that vibrated.
Right.
And they were testing me with that as well. And they were noticing there were certain areas, there's certain nerves in the foot still seem to work okay. And maybe that's why I have some feeling, but there are other nerves in the foot that didn't work, and they were able to isolate. They knew where those nerve groups were. So that I kind of found that interesting.
Right. And I've also been to Johns Hopkins, and I've had very similar tests done over the last 14 years. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Did you meet with the Dr. Kornblath?
Yes, I did.
He's retired.
I know, I heard.
Yeah.
When they retire, it's always tough to find a new doctor. Make sure you find one younger than you are. So
yes, exactly. Yes.
Anyway,
Well-
okay, Bernie, you got your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I was first diagnosed in 2017 and it was called very mild at that point. And mine started with an extreme sensitivity where I couldn't stand a bed sheet over my toes at night. I still feel I don't have numbness. But last week I just had my my nerve conduction study at Washington University School of Medicine, the Department of Neurology, which I found after talking to you guys about what was happening on the East Coast. So thank you for that. And they did a very extensive tests of my right leg. And I've got a report here, which I literally cannot understand. It's all in their terminology. And I'm waiting for somebody yet to tell me what this says. But anyway, since 2017, I don't feel numbness. I can feel the pedals on the car. I can feel if I step on something in bare feet. I can feel a cold floor. I can feel heat. So I don't consider myself to have major numbness of any type. The way they put it is they said an 85-year-old male complains of numbness in his feet since 2017. Well, that isn't what I told them. I told them it was pain in my toes. But I'm waiting for someone to explain this to me fully. But the first conclusion was that I have axonal peripheral neuropathy based on the slightly small Searle SNAPs with mild to intermittent slow something. Slowing of motor nerves or something. Then the second was the study shows mild active denervation in the vastus medials and vastus laterals with no denervation in the something else. So, I mean, that's the type of, and I asked the doctor at the end to explain to me, and he says, oh, you'll get a report later this afternoon. So I went home and went on my chart, and this is what I have. And I've been to my internist. She doesn't want to touch it. She said, it's not my thing. So I wrote back to the neurologist that I'm waiting for somebody to tell me what this says. But that's kind of my story. And I can still feel the pedals on the car. As I said, I can step on things and say, whoa, I know I stepped on something. So mine may be a little different.
Glenn, would you like helping out Bernie?
Yeah, I'll help you out a little bit, Bernie. I'll try and keep it simple. Basically, what that seems to be saying is that the damage to your nerves is to the filaments themselves rather than to the myelin sheathing that covers the larger diameter nerves. There's deterioration of your axons. Those are actually the pathways. And the SNAP refers to the response time, basically, with that if you're having problems with that response time, it indicates there's been some deterioration there. The other information you have there, because I'm assuming that they did this, if they're talking about medial nerves and such, they did it within your limbs. They're talking about particular pathways. But one thing I will say is that these nerve conduction studies can only measure the functioning of the larger fiber diameter nerves, the ones with myelin sheathing on it. That includes, speaking of different types of nerves, I put a comment in the chat about how for people with different symptoms, it often depends upon which type of nerves are being preferentially affected. Large sensory nerves subsume the sensations of mechanical touch, vibration, and positional sense. All motor nerves are large fiber and have myelin sheathing. The small fiber nerves, which have little or no myelin sheathing, subsume the sensations of pain and temperature. We actually have nerve fibers that sense warm and cold, and when they combine, that's where you get the sensation of hot when both fire at once. So depending upon which of your nerves are preferentially affected, well, you can have global effect as well, you get somewhat different symptoms. People who are experiencing that burning dysesthetic pain probably have small fiber involvement with the individual nerves that subsume pain sensations. People and have a mixture because they're not getting that sensation of mechanical touch. It gets really, really complicated, but if you have knowledge on some level to the nerve pathway, whether it's through the tunnel, is often a distinction that's useful.
Thank you. We're losing you a little bit. Well, I'm going to go see, I got an appointment with him and someday, I appreciate what you've told me, Judd. they did strictly my right leg, and they started at my toes and went all the way to my belly button almost, you know, and I got poked all the way up the leg multiple times. But it's an interesting study. But I just need
And it-
what have I got? You know, I know I have peripheral neuropathy.
Bill, Mike
And I
has.
imagine it was a delightful experience.
Oh, it was a delightful experience.
Well, Glenn charges $50 every 30 minutes for consultation. So just to save you some money,
I appreciate
we're going to go to Mike. You have your hand up.
I'd like, can you talk to John JH first, because he's had his hand up even.
Okay,
before.
John, I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
You done mute.
John, did we lose you?
No, he's
Oh,
done.
he's unmuting.
Hello, John. John.
Not unmuted yet.
Hey, sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, I just had a quick question. Does losing weight help much? I just lost 13, 14 pounds a couple of weeks ago when I had to go to the emergency room, and I've gained some of that back, but I always thought that, you know, losing weight would be a big step toward putting pressure on that nerve and L5S1. Is that true?
I'm not a doctor, but I will tell you that every time I go, they say losing weight, whatever you have, will help you in many ways. Because I'm a little over my BMI or whatever it is, so I try and losing weight's good. Whether it affects PN, I'm not sure. But anybody else on that to help John?
I think it's pretty well documented that most medical professionals say that over 50% of neuropathy patients have diabetes. So they recommend, most people that I know, and this is just my opinion, but they say treat all neuropathy patients as if they were diabetic. And what that would mean is eating fewer carbs, getting exercise, controlling portions, eating a lot of protein and so on. And that would be my thought on that. Yes, that if you lost 10 to 15 pounds, you ought to feel it. And it's not just compression of your vertebrae, it's your overall system.
Yes. I agree. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mike, you have your hand up, and then we're going to take a break. Mike, go ahead. You got 2 minutes.
I just wanted to respond to Bernie. First off, however you deal with the numbness and all that other stuff, please don't lose track of the long-term issues having to do with motor neurons. When we say progressive, that includes threats to your balance. And the one thing that we haven't talked about today, which comes up at every meeting, is it's really important to keep your exercise program, to be very systematic about it, to keep moving all the time, because it's use it or lose it on your balance. I'm now, let's see, 28 years into this process. And the first 13, I ignored it, and I'm paying the price. So, that's, yeah, the motor nerves are being threatened, and that's what allows you, that plus your sensory nerves, the combination gives you the ability to balance. But your motor nerves means that when you lose your balance, you can regain it. You've got enough strength in your legs to regain it, and so it's, you know, I don't know how old you are, but if you die at 110 because you fell over, well, you did a really good job.
That's good to know, Mike. All right. Well, I've got 3 o'clock, and that's, for me, it's break time. take a walk, lose some weight, and we'll see you at 3:05. And Monica, you're up when we come back. Okay.
Hmm. Oh, damn it.
Touch it. Oh dear. Hi. Yes. Yep. Yep. I don't see that. I don't see. There's a bar at the bottom, but I don't see unmute. Just the peripheral neuropathy support network. Oh, the bar went away. How do I do that? Yeah. And how do you get my picture? Oh, okay. Yeah, but by the way, does that little camera need to be up when in this position? No, it's built in. Well, I yeah, I don't know either. It says Zoom meeting and then it says recording. Well, yeah, right. 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 Okay, and there's a matter of pulling up this camera thing on the top of the screen. I've only used it once or twice. Maybe that needs to be up. No. A little green light. No, I don't. Oh, okay. Yes, okay. I gotta stand up and see where this.
Bill,
Yes.
would you ask people to please identify themselves when they respond? Because it's hard to hear who is answering. Like if Monica asks a question and Glenn responds, we know Glenn's voice, but we don't know other people's. So if they just say Rich Davis here or Cynthia, so we know who's answering.
Who's answering or who? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you've called on Monica. If they want to respond, instead of just calling out, would they please say their name?
Okay.
Now you got my picture.
Okay, I got 3:05, so we are back. Everyone is back with us. Hope you hydrated yourself and took a walk and lost some pounds. Anyway, okay, Monica, are you with us? I can't see everybody. Monica, are you?
Yeah.
Hi, this is Monica. I'm here. I actually was just responding to, or I was over exuberant, I guess, whenever, I don't know if it's Retha or Rice was explaining her symptoms, because that's exactly what I was going through. So that was the only reason why my hand was up. But I think the gentleman, and I want to say his name was John, but I don't know his name. He was explaining about the ruptured disc and then having the onset of the neuropathy. And that's exactly what I am going through, or have I don't want to say have gone through. Like, my ruptured disc has been replaced, but his symptoms are exactly what I am going through. So I just wanted to let him know that there is someone else in this group that has exactly what he was describing as well. Like I said, I think his name was John, but I wasn't sure.
Okay.
That's all.
Thank you, Monica. I appreciate that. And it's been brought up to me is when you respond to somebody's question, would you please say your name so you can identify yourself? All right, let's move on. Is there any other questions people want to bring up?
Can we go back to the woman who's in a terrible pain for a minute?
Elaine?
Can we go? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Is there anyone in this group who has found pain relief that might be able to help her?
Thank you, Risa. I guess the Meta NX is what I'm gonna try next. I'm also considering medical marijuana. I tried it a couple of years ago and it didn't help, but I'm willing to try it again. So I'll try ant poop. I'll try anything.
But is there anyone in this group who's been helped with their pain, who might help have something to help her? Something.
So I'll just chime in, and I just saw your name pop up, so I know it's Rise opposed to Retha. Aretha. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. And so I actually have recently found a cream that is they produce it in Fredericksburg, Virginia, which is right down the street from me. So I feel like that's a good thing. It is full scope CBD, and honestly, I could not walk every day without it. It takes me, and I work full time, so it allows me to go to work full time. I only apply it in the evening if I take my compression hose off, and I put I have a foot splint, or I don't know what it's called, but an ankle and foot splint that I wear after I come home from work. If I cannot walk after that, I'm more than happy to put it in the chat. I do have it here. It's called Pain Masters or Pain Master. I just and I forget the gentleman's name that is always advising us about what works for one person may not work for another person. So I say it works for me and allows me to continue my work full time. I'm an engineer, an IT engineer, so I'm always walking, but it works for me. It's not oral, it's topical. It has to be topical because of the work that I do. And I'm more than happy to share it.
Thank you, Monica. Appreciate that. Pat, your hands up.
Pat Gualtieri here. Monica, could I understand how you found this cream? Did you go to, I don't know what's in Fredericksburg, is there a dispensary, or can you tell us a little bit more about it and how others might be able to access it?
Sure. I actually, I live in Springfield, which I said on the last time we had this meeting, when that was my first time joining. And I had just had my pain pump removed a couple of months prior. And I had found myself unable to go to work because in the morning, I just could not stand my pain, and the numbness was just horrendous. Like I honestly felt like my foot was bone on bone. It may still be, I don't know. Which is why I went to my podiatrist. But anyhow, I started looking online for like what is out there that's topical that can relieve pain. And this particular, and here's a bottle, this particular cream came up, and I was like, oh, they're in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Perfect. It's right down not right down the street, but kind of right down the street from me. It's local. If I have any issues, I just feel more comfortable with calling someone local, I guess. And a place in Burke actually sold it. So I went there. The young lady behind the counter actually said, hey, this is not cheap, by the way. It's only 2 ounces and it cost almost $90. And she's like, I don't mind giving you a sample so that you're not committed to it if it does not work. I tried it that same day. I called her back and I said, do you have a bigger bottle? It worked that well in such a limited amount of time for me. I went there that same day, picked up the 2-ounce bottle of this, and I've been using it for the last, I'm going to say, I had my pain pump out in March. So I've been using it since April of 2023. And like I said, I generally only put it on in the morning because I have to go to work. And then the evening, if I just feel like I just cannot walk the rest of the evening. And that's very rare. I do wear a compression hose all day. And I do, like I said, I do take my baclofen twice a day, and I do take my pregabalin when I come home from work. But it's been a lifesaver. Yeah, that's all I can, like I said, that's how I found it, is just Googling online, neuropathy, pain, topical, and this is what came up.
And just as a follow-up, Monica, I just looked up the website, and it does say the white is strong, but the red label is stronger. Did you start with the white, or did you just go straight to the red?
I purchased the white first, and it's actually right here, so that everyone knows I did purchase it. It's actually almost still filled because I found that this did not work. She gave me the red as a sample in case this did not help me with the pain.
And my last question, do you order it online, or do you have to go to the provider?
No, I actually ordered online. The Burke store is still there. It still carries it. It's just more convenient for me to order it online. And they have like a 20% off. It says like first time only use, but I've used that same 20% off coupon every time I order because it's so expensive.
And it's called Pain Master.
I'm putting it in chat.
Okay, I've got it. Okay.
Thank you.
Because there was a guy, I forgot who it was, but last month he had a compounded cream that was made up of lidocaine, prolicaine, and tryptoline and gabapentin. And it was, he had to go to a compounding pharmacy, but he swore by it. So,
yeah, this is not that. Like I said, it's full scope CBD, so people should be aware of that. Because, like I said, I still work, and because of where I work, I needed to make sure I had something that when I do have to do, and I will say I have not had to do a urinalysis or drug test, but they say on their website, because it's topical, you can still pass it. I don't know if that's true or not. I just have to put that out there. but I will say that it has been a lifesaver for me, because unfortunately the pain meds only do so much, and they were not doing enough for me to be able to go to work full time. This has been the thing that has allowed me to continue to work full time.
Thank you very much, and we appreciate that for sure. Bernie, your hands up, go ahead.
Is this Burke store she's talking about a drugstore, or what? What if I wanted to go buy it somewhere locally? What? It's not available in drugstores, right?
No, it's I don't want to say it's a CBT store. I think they go. I'll actually put that in the chat as well. I don't know if they're considered a holistic store or what have you. It just happened to be, once again, 5 minutes up the street from me. So I said, why not? I told my husband, why not go there, see what they have, see what may work. But it's definitely not considered a drugstore.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bernie. Again, please, when you respond to a question, please say who you are so we can know who's speaking. I appreciate that. Excuse me, anybody else?
This is Belinda speaking. I would like to know, is that Painmaster cream for any specific type of neuropathy?
This is Monica speaking again. It's not for neuropathy. It's just for pain in general. Okay. I went there because I have neuropathy, or I went to the Burke store because I have neuropathy. And I was at I don't know her name, but I was at the end of my wits. I had my pain pump removed. For the people that were here at the last meeting, they know why. But I was at the end of I'm on these pharmaceutical medications, and I can't go to work because I can barely stand. So no, it's not just for neuropathy. It's for pain in general. I just so happen to have neuropathy, and it helps me.
Thank you. And I just want to know, this is to the group, has anybody used duloxetine for their neuropathy? And if so, did it work for them?
Yes, this is Helene. Yes, it helps.
Okay. How long have you been taking it?
Oh, years.
Okay.
Various dosages.
Okay. Okay.
I too have, this is Pat again. I too have taken duloxetine for years. I've never stopped it to see if it made a difference. So my pain is under control. My frustration is more the numbness. My other weird thing that I've never had anyone else say that they've experienced is the tops of my ears burn like they're on fire constantly. And it's so distressing to think about your ears burning all the time, especially when you wear a hearing aid and glasses and a COVID mask. It was awful. And so I am just dealing with that. Someone suggested that I get a numbing agent, and I tried that, didn't do anything. So I just live with burning ears. Just part of my neuropathy.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, Helene, your hand's up. Can we help you, please?
Yes, Monica, about how long would a jar of that last you?
Sorry, Helene, I was trying to type in the chat. It's so expensive. I'll be honest. I use this very non-liberally. So I will say 2 ounces probably last me a month and a half. I don't know if that's like a lot for some people. I don't know if that's a little for some people. So that's just me. And I generally will not have to use this in the evenings, because when I get home, I put my, like I said, I have I don't know if it's called a splint or something. I don't know what it's called, but I use that with my compression hose. In the morning, I'm generally up and I'm putting this on, just so that you know my schedule, about 7, and I work a standard 8-hour work day. I drive from Springfield all the way up to the Dulles area. And by the time I get home, I'm still able to walk, but just for balance and comfortability, I put my splint on, and I only use this again if even the splint does not allow me to walk and I'm in that much pain. But I take my pregabalin whenever I get home, so I'm sure that that helps the majority of the time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Monica. See, Mary Jo, your hands up. Mary Jo Edwards.
Yes, Mary Jo Edwards, Monica. I guess it would depend on how extensive your neuropathy is or your pain is. I mean, I've got pain in both feet, tops and bottoms, and up my legs. So it would appear to me that I would have to use a lot of this cream, you know, to get relief, you know.
I 100% agree with that. And while I was typing, I was saying I am not a spokesperson for Painmaster. I have no affiliation with this company.
Right.
I have neuropathy on the my left foot primarily, the bottom, the first 3 toes primarily, and the top of my foot, and then my ankle. I don't have it up my leg, thank God, as of yet. And so, but when I apply it to all of that, to include my ankle area as well, all around the ankle. Like I said, I don't use it. I always confuse myself if liberal is a lot or if liberal is not a lot. I don't use it. I don't use a lot of it because it's so expensive. And I have not had any issues. Like I said, it's because it's so expensive, I tend to not want to waste it. And because I don't have time to let it, I would say, thoroughly sink in, because when I apply it to one foot, then I'll go to the other, and then I'll put my compression hose on, hoping that it's fully
absorbed.
Hello?
Just froze.
Well, I have small fiber polyneuropathy, an axonal type, and I believe from what I've read, that's one of the more painful types of neuropathy. So I'm wondering if I were to put like a thin film and really massage it into the areas that are most painful for me, if that would be the way to go.
I'm sorry. I actually lost connectivity, so I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, okay. I have small fiber polyneuropathy, an axonal type of neuropathy, which it's my understanding that that's one of the more painful types of neuropathy. And I'm just wondering if I were to put just a very thin layer of this cream and really massage it into the areas that are bothering me, would that be the way to go, do you think? I mean,
I'm not a
do you have to
doctor.
have a certain amount of this cream on the affected areas, or?
Yeah, I'm not a doctor, and like I said, I'm not a spokesperson for this product. I was just saying that this product has worked for me.
Okay.
I believe her name is Pat. Please, once again, I'm going back and forth between the chat and the real time chat conference. She put the phone number in there. I've called them before just to ask, because at one point when I was buying this, once again, being just honest, it was very grainy. And I was just like, oh God, I've paid 80 something bucks for this, and I can't use the bottom of it because it's crystallized. And they're like, oh yeah, we are changing the formulation because you're not the only person that's calling about that. So I've only called their customer service line one time, and they were able to answer my question about the crystallization, which I don't have anymore about with this product. So I would say call the number. It's a local number. It's 703. Call in, and I think the bottle may actually have an 800 number. I can't tell because it's so small. But I would say call customer service and ask them that question. I am not the person to answer that for you.
Okay, I'll check that out. Thank you, Monica.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Mary Jo. Thank you, Monica. And like I say, whatever's mentioned on what we use, like a judge uses Methanex, I suggest you talk to your primary care physician or somebody about how much to use or what to take. And we all try something, and some things work and some things don't. And personally, I've had neuropathy for 25 years, and I've probably have tried creams and topicals and drugs and supplements, and it's a process you go through. So anyway, what works for one does not work for another, but certainly try it and find out. But I would say talk to your doctor about it, and if they don't know, I guess you talk to your pharmacist. I find the pharmacist to be the greatest person in the world about what things mean and what things do. Anyway, okay, Mike, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
I think
Mike?
the bottom line, the question was, does anything work? Does anything deal with the pain? And what Bill just said was, it's a process. Time, generally speaking, for most people. Elaine can attest the fact that she's been at it a long time and she's still struggling with it. But for most people, yes, you try various things and eventually you find something that allows you to continue to function. Monica's describing something that for her got her out of deep distress into something much milder, and where she's coping for whatever the consequences are. And so, yes, we need to retain this belief that there is hope out there. I'm going to tell you a not particularly short story, so I'm trying to make it short as I can. My wife was horribly abused as a child. Ordinarily, if someone like that dies by the time they're 20 or 25, and so terribly abused. But she was very smart, and she had a photographic memory, and she decided that, well, I can do this. I can survive, and she did, and she thrived. But she was sick all the time. She had acid reflux, she had migraines, she had constant problems with back pain, but she was determined to be a mother, and she was determined to get on with things, and she did. And then we had David Clark come on. We read David Clark's book, and he explained how things in your life that are bad show up, and they make it hard. And she was also coming to grips with what happened to her as a child, which takes time and we've been tremendous at. And anyway, thinking about this over a period of weeks, all those illnesses all went away. My point being that we are integrated pieces of matter, and we have brains, we have bodies, we have things. This integrated structure that we are is very complex, and it's tough to deal with. So you need to get to the point where you're functioning. That's really essential. If you're not functioning, then you need to do something about it. You need to put all your efforts to doing something about it. You need to find out what's causing the problem, because these changes to your body that happen because your nerves die, that's not the whole story on pain. The pain is a thing that your brain does by taking these signals or these changes in signals and creates this pain. It's a mixture of experience, life experience. It's a mixture of what exactly the changes are. It's very complex. And when I'm arguing with Judd about whether it was a placebo or not, who cares? The point is, he's got his life back under control. Now, I would care only if somebody said, well, I'm going to go out and spend a lot of money on Meta NX because it helped Judd. That would be my concern. But if you're in the process of trying to figure it out and you want to try Meta NX, and it just so happens that in this process that you're in, it results in you functioning when you weren't functioning, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So don't give up. Monica found something and she's functioning. That's the important part. You got to keep functioning. You got to. So yes, try these things if you wish, but realize that you're an integrated process. So it's Helene said she used the phrase, it's all in my head. No, nothing is all in your head. You're an integrated structure. It's not all in your head like it's magical, like it's your imagination. No, it's not your imagination. It is real. It's as real as any other thing in your life is pain. And it's the process of this very complex structure. And there's no simple answers. But the most important thing is that you keep trying, because for most of us, there is an answer. For me, it eventually became, I turned on, my biggest pain problem was I had difficulty sleeping. I eventually turned on recordings at night and played them until I went to sleep. And just the familiarity of the recordings at night, okay, well, I'll listen to this, and eventually sleep takes over. That was my magic pill. Will that work for you? Who knows? Keep trying. Yes, there are many, many people who've managed to lick pain.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Let's move on. Are there any other? I'm just curious. Going back to the new people, have we answered most of you? Do you all have any questions? Any, especially from the new attendees?
I don't know, because I've been under the care of a neurologist for some time. I'm satisfied with that. And I'm satisfied with the relief I get from gabapentin.
All right, and that was who? John, Steve, please say who you.
That was Dick.
What?
That was Dick Schmidt.
Dick.
Oh,
All right.
excuse me, I forgot to say, this is Dick Schmidt.
Shame on you, Dick. Okay, I appreciate
Yes.
it very much. Any other new attendee who has a question for the group?
This is Belinda. I don't have any other questions, but I do have some CBD cream here at my house that I'm going to try too, that I got from the health food store before I try the Pain Master.
I think that's good. I think that's what we all talk about. It's a process of trying different things and everyone finds something different. Mary Jo, your hands up. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm not a new person, but I just have a question for the group, and that is, has anyone read any research that's been done on nerve regeneration? Does that happen? I mean, I realize the progression is probably a lot faster than that, but does nerve regeneration ever occur with people who have PN?
I will say yes, but I'm going to let our expert in that, Glenn, would you please tell us about regeneration?
Thank you.
Yes,
Yes.
under the right circumstances, which are of course hard to get, nerve regeneration can occur. As long as the cell body from which the axon goes has not been killed, you can get regrowth of axons over time. Unfortunately, nerve regeneration tends to be about the slowest thing that the body does. Even under the best of circumstances, the figure that's usually thrown about is 1 millimeter per day, which means if you're talking, say, a ladder that goes from the lower spine down to your toes, if you're very tall, you might be talking about years, assuming nothing gets in the way. Now, of course, regeneration being made faster than that is the holy grail of everything that goes on in neurology in general, not just peripheral neuropathy. There's been a lot more stuff done with regeneration for the spinal cord because they're trying to get people out of wheelchairs. But among the stuff that's going on now, the thing that seems to have been most interesting is the Winsantor people, for those of you who may have heard about them, repurposing a digestive anti-acid drug, which seems to have nerve trophic properties, into a series of, I think they're now at stage 2 trials, trying to see whether or not they can actually speed up the nerve regeneration process. If you want, you can actually just pull up WINSANTOR and you can read about some of the stuff there. They are a pharmaceutical startup, so you don't get a lot of the technical stuff on the website. But that's I think, been the most promising one currently. Unfortunately, over the many decades people have been dealing with this, there have been things that seem like they might be good and then didn't pan out. The stuff that tends to regenerate peripheral nerves in mice and rats doesn't always do it in human beings. Hopefully, though, with the advent of the Human Genome Project and the ability to now custom make proteins, we'll see maybe an acceleration in this particular area of research. The trick, of course, is to get money for it. And that's not always easy, considering all the other areas of medical research that they want to get money for.
And what about stem cell research? Anything? I'm always checking to see if they're investigating stem cell research for this disease.
Certainly they are, but very much in its infancy. A lot of, again, neuropathy, and I'll get on the soapbox hopefully just for about 30 seconds. Neuropathy doesn't get a lot of attention because those people can kill you. And there's a lot of money to be made in the pharmaceutical industry for things that will help relieve the symptoms of neuropathy without necessarily curing or reversing it. So as a result, there seems to be a lot more attention with stem cells with other areas. Again, things like spinal cord regeneration, for example, or gastrointestinal cell regeneration. We'll see how it progresses, but I do have more hope than I did, say, 10 years ago, because I do see things accelerating in terms of how the ability to custom make proteins seems to be advancing.
Thank you, Glenn. Appreciate that. Cynthia, your hands up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I had a question for Glenn. I was wondering if he thinks that with the symptoms that long COVID that people are continuing to experience, if he feels that that might also help with a acceleration of some research into nerve conditions as well.
Yeah, that is definitely one of the things that I have some hope for. Not that post-infectious neuropathies are a new thing. This is something that's been reported with almost every virus or bacterium you care to name. But the number of people that have been affected with long COVID may have brought it more into the spotlight than it has been before.
Yeah, hopefully.
Also, Glenn, I wanted to ask you on your regeneration, it may regenerate, but doesn't couldn't the nerve go a different direction and that cause a problem? Isn't that true?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And, I certainly have experience with this because for those of you who may not have heard this before, I had a very unusual presentation. It was acute onset full body, and it was predominantly or almost exclusively small fiber. But because that's such an interesting presentation, I've been followed by Weill Cornell Center for Peripheral Neuropathy for well on 2 decades now. They like to do skin biopsies on me every so often, and we have been documenting the fact that compared to the first one I got back in 2003, I have gotten some regeneration. But what I can say about this, and the spinal cord people who've been experimented on often report this too, nerves that regenerate will often regenerate in different pathways than they were originally. They have to fight their way through and around other tissue. And the sensations you can often get as a result of that, particularly small fiber regeneration, are really odd enough that you might think your neuropathy is getting worse. I know that in terms of my regeneration, I got all sorts of tingles, electrical zaps, burning in the face, all sorts of bizarre, wonderful stuff. Fortunately, I keep very extensive symptom diaries. And if you look at it in long-term retrospect, you see over months to years, oh, okay, this flared up, but it eventually calmed down and it was a little bit better than baseline. I do tell people it's good to keep those symptom diaries and look at them over the long term. It helps to determine whether your neuropathy is plateaued, getting worse, getting better. It's a good idea.
Thank you, Glenn. Appreciate that. Let me go back to the new attendees. Is there any new attendee who has a question? Okay, I want to also ask Elaine, how are you feeling now? Are we helping you or?
Yes, thank you. I just, I think I was up all night trying to figure out how to deal with the pain to get some sleep, and it just sort of got to me. So, yeah, thank you. I appreciate everybody's support and all the suggestions, and I'm gonna follow up.
Okay, that's good, because I think a support group is one of the, besides diet and exercise, support group is great.
Absolutely.
Pat, your hands up. Pat?
Yes, I had a response to Cynthia about the long COVID question. Tim Kaine in Virginia, Senator Kaine, in 22 suffered COVID and had peripheral neuropathy-like symptoms afterwards, tingling, numbness, etc. And he had intended and did, in fact, introduce legislation to increase the funding for long COVID research, but it went nowhere. And it seems at this point, even though he had quite a bit of senatorial support, there is some question about whether they will reintroduce a different version of it. And I'm following up with his office to find out one of Meredith McNabb, who is a long-term member of our group here, said that she actually heard him speak recently, and she could see the difference in his energy level and stamina just based on how she had known him previously. So anyway, she asked me to follow up with his office, which I intend to do, to find out if there's intention of reintroducing that legislation, and if they feel that given the passage of time and more data collection, maybe it will get more support.
Well, great. Well, thank you for that, Pat. Appreciate that very much. It's good to know that that's happening, and then maybe we can, as a group, as an organization, help support that if the bill moves forward. That'd be great.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you. Margie, you're up. Margie White.
Yes, I was unmuting. This is kind of a different topic, I think.
That's
But
fine.
I hear a lot of people say they have small fiber, large fiber, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When I mentioned, and skin biopsies, when I mentioned this to the physician's assistant at my neurologist, because I've been kind of passed on to her, she said, what difference would it make to know all of that? Because the treatment would be the same. Do people agree or disagree?
I totally disagree with that comment from the PA.
Yeah, me too.
I really do. And I've heard the exact same thing, Marge. I heard that from a number of practitioners. I went in my journey to find out what was wrong with me. That comment made me angry. I think there's a lot of power in knowing what your diagnosis is and in being knowledgeable and about your condition. You can be so much of a better advocate for yourself if you have that information. So I guess I jumped in there because I feel pretty strongly about that.
This is Helene. I agree completely. And also they can chart your progress or Congress. I don't know what the opposite of progress is.
No,
by
you're right.
looking at the nerve biopsy and seeing if it's gotten better, if it's gotten worse, has it moved, is it more up your leg, is it, you know, all information is helpful. So I would push back on that, Margie.
Yeah, very much so. Ask lots of questions.
Yeah,
You're gonna, that information will help you as you continue to move forward, trying to help yourself, is how I believe.
I'll jump at that group with you guys and gals, and but the big thing here, I think the takeaway is you have to be your own advocate, and you have to ask the questions that you want to know. If some doctor says something like that to you, or a PA or a nurse practitioner or whatever, I think it's time for a change of a physician.
Yeah. Well, do we talk about neurologists that are really invested in this subject? Do we name names or?
I think first off, I live in Richmond, so I can't, you know.
Okay.
But one thing I've taken away from this group is it's always good to find a neuromuscular neurologist.
Neuromuscular.
They're the ones that specialize in, especially like in, you know, the neuromuscular diseases.
Okay.
Especially, and ask a simple question: do you know about peripheral neuropathy? I mean, some, or you know, they're all in groups now. You know, all these doctors have, and they all specialize. I think it's always a good question to ask when you're looking for a neurologist. Do you have a neuromuscular neurologist in your group that knows about peripheral neuropathy?
Okay, I'm in Northern Virginia in Annandale.
Well, I'm sure you'll find them, yeah. At least you're not in Possum Trot, Kentucky or something, so.
Right, yes. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Bill.
All right, Mike, you got 2 minutes. You're up.
Question was to ask.
And don't pick on Judd.
Question was asked about regeneration of nerves. I think we need to recognize that the most fundamental thing that makes us human was the ability to walk on 2 legs. It's a very, very difficult skill. It's very hard to do. It's what makes us, it's what led to hominids, which led to all of the other creatures that lived on this earth that were before humans. And what's interesting about walking on 2 legs is the need to have these really long connections of sensory nerves and motor nerves. That's not really required for a 4-legged animal. A 4-legged animal doesn't, it's got 4 legs. It can get around quite well. It doesn't need these really precise timing that you have to walk on 2 legs. Very hard. And so that's one thing. Another thing is that until recently, until 2,000 years ago, 6,000 years ago, which is an instant in evolutionary times, there weren't people sitting around thinking about, I'm sitting and I'm thinking about things, and boy, I got a tingle in my toe. That's new. We haven't had time evolutionarily for us to figure out for the body to adapt itself to really high-speed repair of these really long nerves. It's never been necessary. There've never been any creatures on the planet that needed that. And so we're sitting around and we're doing a lot of sitting, and we're living a long time, and we have time for these to get really worried about that instead of worrying about where's my next meal coming from. Are the plants going to grow? What is this large creature with teeth charging at me? How do I avoid it? When you live in that environment, you don't have time to contemplate a tingle in your toe. We live differently, and there hasn't been enough time for evolution to really figure out a way to repair these really long nerves. And so we're in a new world.
Yes, we are. Thank you, Mike. I've got about 2 more minutes, and then we're going into sort of a closing remarks. Has anyone got any questions? Or Brian, I see that do you have something you've been kind of quiet today. Do you have a question?
No questions. I've just been enjoying listening to everybody. It's been very educational. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that. Is there anyone else who I'm looking for people who I haven't heard from? Anyone? Rich? Oh, that's right.
I'm good. I apologize.
I thought you were hiding, but no, you weren't hiding.
No. Well, I had to break away, and I apologize.
We're in good shape. Okay.
We've got Barbara and Betty Ann and Gloria. We've heard from Belinda, and we've got somebody on the phone. I don't know what that is from.
Oh, again, I can't see everybody on my screen for some reason.
We got a Helene Greenberg down there, and Rob.
Well, we've talked to Helene, and she's feeling better. We made her feel better, so that's good. But
apparently, there's another Helene.
Another Helene.
Yes, Helene Greenberg.
That's exciting.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay. I just was recently diagnosed, and again, numbness in my feet a little bit, numbish feeling. And I find when barefoot, it's worse than if I wear socks. And when I wear shoes, it's better. And I'm just wondering if that's been the case for people or not. Or I have these socks with like rubber grippy things on the bottom, and I have a pair of Crocs. And it's better when I wear it, like my brain is distracted when I'm not barefoot, and I feel other things on the bottom of my feet. I'm just wondering whether anyone has felt that.
Yes. This is Helene. Oh, I'm echoing now. Barefoot is a little dangerous, especially if you're feeling a little numb. I will briefly tell the story of the time I chased my cat around because I thought the blood on the floor was from her. And then I realized that it was trailing behind me. And I had a cut on my foot that I don't know how I got. And the cut on my foot was from me. So I always wear the socks with the rubber grippies on the bottom. And it feels better, and it's probably safer.
I will say you should always, I always hear don't go barefoot, because someone told me the story one day about 5 years ago of somebody who was walking around barefoot, and every time he walked, he heard a tapping. And after a day, he looked at his foot, and there were 2 tacks in his foot that he did not know he had picked up. So I would not go barefoot ever, except of course in the shower or something, but you have to be very careful. But anyway, anybody else?
I think it makes sense that if you have feelings in your feet, from something else, like the shoe or the grippies on your socks, or anything that adds a sensation other than this weirdness that you feel, then your brain is going to say, well, I'm probably okay. Like that weirdness fades into the background of all the other symptoms. And that's one of the reasons, by the way, why things like topical creams make sense, because you, instead of feeling this weird thing that's frightening you, you're feeling a burning sensation that you know what it is, you know exactly what it is, and it's kind of obscuring this other sensation. Again, pain is something your brain creates because you're focused on something that really bothers you, that annoys you, that's got your attention, when you'd much rather be working, or you much rather be changing the baby's diaper or whatever. You know, they're doing something that you consider useful.
And I had noticed the same thing you described when I first, at the onset of my peripheral neuropathy. You know, it was in my big toe, my right big toe, then with my left big toe. You know, it was that same progress that was described. And what I realized was, when I was still working, so I was still wearing, you know, hard-soled shoes, and when I put those shoes on, my neuropathy went away, right? And then I'd come home and I wanted to take my shoes off, and as soon as I did, I started feeling it. So I think, like was just described by Mike, it's almost like the shoe is almost like a disguise. And now I prefer, when I'm going around the house, I'm wearing, you know, like a thick rubber, like a Croc or something like that. I need to wear a thick slipper at least. But, you know, I don't enjoy going, you know, I don't enjoy going barefoot as much. There's only one place that I'll go barefoot, and that's on the beach.
Or in the ocean, right? With the water shoes, I hope. Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
We're going to move on to closing remarks until we go into overtime. And Pat, do you want to start off?
Sure. First of all, I'm so pleased to see many of our friends returning, and also to welcome new friends. I'm the president of the Peripheral Neuropathy Support Network. If you have questions or follow-up ideas or comments for today, you can, excuse me, write to me, email me at leader@pnsnetwork.org, and we'll be able to respond. I have a couple of closing items to identify. First of all, there is a Foundation for Peripheral Neuropathy webinar on February 29th on preventing neuropathy. It's February 29th at 2:00 Eastern Time. And you can register for that by going to foundationforperipheralneuropathy.org and searching under patient education. And also, you can find this information, I can't say it often enough, on our website. Judd and Mike are very good at keeping us up to date as much as possible. If anyone has time that they'd like to volunteer on the website, we're always looking for additional help to keep us current. Anyway, the second notion that I wanted to mention for Foundation for Peripheral Neuropathy is that they had a very informative webinar on January 26th on diabetic neuropathy. So if you missed that, the recording is available on their site as well. And we will try to get that on ours if it isn't already up. The other thing that I wanted to tell you is the popular press has had a couple of health and aging related, not PN specific, but health and aging related articles this past week, both of which are up on our website already. One is a study of 10,000 brain scans that showed that just 25 minutes weekly exercise was helpful in preventing memory loss. You might want to look at that, though one of my friends said, if only that could be true. Now, this was a clinical research study, so hopefully we can believe it. But anyway, the point is, Dr. Hoke at Hopkins says, exercise, exercise, exercise. That is your best defense against continued degeneration. So we will plug that, as well as another Washington Post article you might want to look at, though it has its controversies, as we heard today already. This one is want to slow memory loss after 60? Taking a multivitamin may be the answer. And it was a clinical study that showed the group that took the multivitamin was 2 years younger in memory functioning at the conclusion of the study. So, of course, there are caveats. What you see is not necessarily what you get with supplements. My radiation oncologist son-in-law says, don't take any of them. You don't know what's in the bottle. What it says is in there is not necessarily there, though that reference to don't buy on Amazon or the big box stores is probably your best defense in that respect. Other issues with multivitamin use, of course, is that you may have an adequate diet already, and you might actually be unknowingly overdosing on a particular vitamin, especially the Bs that you want to be careful of. You may be exceeding the daily amount by your diet and a supplement. The best defense, I guess, on that is blood tests. Others say don't waste your money. It's not necessarily true what you hear. And the third thing that they commented on in the article was with depleted soils, the nutritive value of food is not what it used to be. And so therefore there may be some legitimate need or use of a multivitamin. So I invite you to go to our website to see and read these articles for yourself and the comments that they generated. And again, as always, make your own decision. The last thing is, would you like to comment, Glenn, on the Vertex experimental drug in terms of it helping to moderate pain?
Yeah, I'll just say this was something I gleaned off of a New York Times article, and also in the Western Neuropathy Association newsletter for January and February. We had Catherine make a little report on it as well. This is basically a drug that is designed to go after the sodium channel pathways, which need to create protein molecules in order to transmit pain signals. It seems to be working out pretty well in preliminary trials. And this was, of course, developed for general types of pain. But the next thing apparently they're going to do trial-wise is try it for neurological types of pain and see if that works. It looks to be promising because at least it seems as if it's going to be less systemic than other types of painkillers out there, particularly opioids, and have fewer side effects.
Thank you for pulling that up on the website, Judd. And would you also show them where they can find the groups, times and days when groups, support groups meet around the country? If you are not able to join us on a Saturday, maybe a Wednesday or Thursday evening would work better for you. And you can find this on our website. And I think that's everything that I was going to wrap up with. Thank you.
All right, that's good. And I would like to finish up with, before we go into overtime, is that I would thank everybody for participating. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Judd. And thank everybody else. And I will leave by saying, remember, motion is lotion, rest is rust.
Thank you.
And if you start to exercise, go slow. If you start lifting weights, go low. So go slow, go low. And then if you can't get up and do something, but you're in your chair, you can sit and be fit.
Very good. And Mike, do you want to talk about the exit survey very quickly?
I do. The exit survey, all the questions are required, meaning it won't let you submit it unless you put an answer. The answer doesn't have to be meaningful, okay? That is, if you want to make us, if they ask you to make a suggestion, well, just say, I don't have any, or just say pass or something. But the other, answer as much as makes sense to you, because we benefit from any question that you answer, even if you don't have anything specific to say about one of them. Just put some kind of letters in that box. and we will appreciate the answers you give to the other questions.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that.
Remember to save your chat. If you are interested in all of these links that I would very definitely recommend that you do. Usually you have the 3 dots at the bottom of the chat. That's the ellipsis. If you click on that, it says save chat. It will save it on your computer, and you can then rename it to today's date and the Zoom meeting, and you can find it again on your computer in your Zoom folder.
Okay, thank you, Pat. I appreciate that. Yes, go ahead, Rich.
Quick question. I'm on my wife's iPad. I was having some computer issues, and I've been trying to see how I would do that by clicking on an iPad. I clicked on chat, but I don't see any way of saving it at the bottom. Is anyone else on an iPad?
I personally am not. Is anyone finding it? Well, the good news, Rich, is that thanks to Judd's dedication, he posts the chat now on the website. So if you can't do it today, but you in the next day or two, you should be able to get the save chat, anyone who's not able to save it themselves today.
Perfect. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thanks, Judd.
Thank you, Rich. Good question. Okay, I've got 4:05, so I'm going to declare this. If I have a second, I will declare this meeting over, and we'll go into overtime from 4:05 to 4:35.
Just so those who are new, overtime is simply an opportunity to spend another 20 or so minutes if you didn't have your question answered, or you have something that you would like to ask directly to another person. It is not recorded as the larger meeting is. So feel free to join us in overtime.
Thank you, Pat. Appreciate that. Okay, I got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good to see everybody.
All right.
Especially Rodney.
See you in March, if not before. Be safe. Right. Who's still with us here? All right.
Almost everybody.
Well,
some people left.
Okay, the only 2 people
I got so much out of it last time I stayed.
I'm sorry. Repeat that.
Repeat that.
This is Monica. I got so much out of it last time I stayed.
Oh, that's good to hear.